Yo, what's up guys? We just got a new box in the mail from Flic. I think I know what this is. After much anticipation and a lot of waiting, we got it. Let's open it up together and see what we got inside. Ooh, there we go. Meet Flic Duo. With Flic Duo, we burned the rule book and built something entirely new. 2 buttons, 22 ways to make your smart home yours. I got to demo this a while back at CES. It was really cool, very innovative. Shout out to Flic. They sent me a pre-production version, so this is a little bit earlier as I'm recording this before it's released. This video is not sponsored, but they did send this to me for free to check out. So we're gonna use it for a little while before it's available. But by the time you're watching this video, it should be available to everyone. All right, we got some guidelines here on different things we can do with the Flic Duo. Let's unbox this thing and check it out for the first time since January. Meet Flic. All right, there we go, that's it. We got us the white version here. Should come in white or black. Looks like that's it. Some instructions. So you can, let's see, connect it to your phone or Flic Hub, assign your actions, and then start using it. All right, let's go ahead and set this thing up. All right, so I'm gonna open up the Flic app. So I do have a Flic Hub in my house that I'm using for some of the other Flic buttons. It's gonna work best with a Flic Hub. We'll talk more about that here in a second. You can pair it directly to your phone, but we'll get into that in a minute once we get it set up. All right, add Flic to Hub. Press and hold your Flic until it connects. See, I'm gonna pull the battery tab right here. Oh, thought that was a battery tab. Nope. Okay, so that's not a battery tab. That is a little magnetic mount, little plate with some adhesive on it. So you can stick that to a wall, and then you can magnetically attach it to the wall like that. So you press and hold. Let's try that. Looks like it's connecting right away. That's always good. Pairing complete, finish. Pairing was that easy with the hub. Let's see what we can do with this. We got the big push button, push the small button, and we can add some triggers. This is what I'm really interested in. Show all the triggers. Check this out. Push, double push. For the big button, you got push, double push, hold, push on wall, so we can tell a difference if it's on the wall or not. So if you remove it from the wall, it can do different things. Pretty crazy. Hold on the wall, swipe up, swipe right, swipe down, left, hold and twist to dim. So with this thing here, it's got an accelerometer built in, and you should be able to push and swipe different ways to control your smart home accessories. Swipe up and down. You can hold and twist to like control the dimming of certain accessories. We're going to test all that out here in just a second. You can do the same thing with the small button. So a lot of different gestures and stuff that you can use with this that I have not seen in any other smart button on the market. So let's go ahead and control a couple of things. Let's see, what do I have in here? Let's see if I can set it to control maybe those nanoleaf lights back there. We'll just do a simple button. So just a basic big button push, push big button. You've got Amazon, Apple Home, Chromecast, Flic Hub Studio. You've got Homey here. You can trigger Homey flows. A lot of different integrations built in. Nanoleaf, Philips Hue, Slack, smart things. So you can do a lot with this button. You can narrow down some of the different things. You could play a sound. That's pretty cool. So I guess this plays from your phone. Let's see what that does. Yeah, it plays a sound from my phone. Pretty cool, okay. So you can get creative with all the stuff you can do here. Let's try a Homey flow. So I have a bunch of different scenes in here. Let's do our America scene. That's here in the studio. So a simple push should just trigger that Homey flow. So this is going through Homey flow. And it worked. All my lights, actually, these in front of me, changed a little bit. I gotta try the push and twist. Add trigger. Let's do the big button. I'm gonna try hold down and twist to dim. So let's see. Oh, we can do scene blender. Okay, so some of these I recognize from the Flic Twist, which is another device that I really like. Let's just go with brightness. Oh, matter is included in here. Okay, so can I control any of my matter controlled lights? Maybe, and I don't see nanoleaf in here, unfortunately, so I can't dim my nanoleaf lights back there, but you can do some others here. Okay, so for matter, the way it works is you have to add your matter devices to Flic, to the Flic hub as a matter device. So your Flic hub basically acts as a matter controller if you want to do that, but you should be able to then control some lights and stuff like that, your matter lights directly in here. It looks like that dimming will work too, so I'm gonna try that here in a little bit. But first, let's go with the scene blender. So I'm gonna do a few scenes here. So I've got Homey, we've got our America scene, we'll do that one up top. And then on the right side, so I guess if I twist to 3 o'clock, let's do another Homey flow. Let's go with our jungle scene. So that's gonna be green. Let's go to the bottom. I think ocean scene is in here. I'm not sure. We'll try that. And then one more here. Let's do another Homey flow. So this is just gonna control different Homey flows or scenes that I've set up there. Let's do, I know the productive scene is here in the studio. All right, so let's save that. Big button twist. Okay, so moment of truth, here we go. Dude, it worked. I'm gonna play around with these. I'm gonna get a bunch of these set up to control different things. I'm gonna come back here in a few days. It'll be just a few seconds for you, but I'll let you know how it's going. I'll show you some demos of using this thing, hopefully around the house with it working successfully, or if not, I'll definitely let you know. Be right back. So I've had some time to play around with this. Now let's talk about everything it can do, its limitations, and my overall thoughts because, well, I do have some mixed feelings about it. Now, first of all, the Duo uses a replaceable CR2032 battery that they say should give you up to 3 years of battery life. That's definitely good if that claim holds up. The button uses Bluetooth 5 LE long range for connection. It has pretty good range. I have a Flic hub centrally located in my house and I haven't had any issues using the button all around the house. It has a 3-color LED for visual feedback. They say it's going to also support audible feedback coming in a future software update. Overall, it has a really nice slim design with tactile buttons. That's one of the things I love about the original Flic buttons. It does come in both black and white options here as well. Now, I tested the Duo with a number of different devices around my home. We have a Matter smart bulb here. This is a Nanoleaf Wi-Fi bulb. Now, you can control any Matter lights with the Duo. I'd set it up for a single press to toggle the light on and off. Push and twist to adjust the brightness. There's actually a whole lot of stuff that you can do with this. It is a little bit confusing and might take a little bit experimenting to get the results you want if you want to like change colors and stuff like that. But just as an example, I did add a function that steps up the hue with a swipe up and a swipe down just to change the colors. Did the same thing for a double press. Overall, it worked quite well. There were some times here and there that the lights didn't respond, but mostly worked well. The twist and swipe actions actually worked surprisingly well. Sometimes you might get a little bit of a delay, but honestly, there are many factors here that could affect this. Your button automations are only going to be as good as the connection of the smart devices you're trying to control, so definitely keep that in mind. You want to be controlling reliable smart home devices with this for the best results. I also tested it with some of my smart Matter shades, and this worked really well. Super cool to be able to just swipe up to open the shades, swipe down to close them. If you have a robot vacuum with Matter support, you can even control that with the Flic Duo. I think having one of these mounted on a wall would be a great way to give everyone in the house an easy way to start or stop the vacuum. There's also a Sonos integration for the Flic Duo. I was very impressed with this. It worked beautifully. Now, unfortunately, I only have one Sonos speaker in my home, and that is the Sonos Arc Ultra soundbar that I use with my TV. But I did configure some controls in the Flic app to control this, and it worked flawlessly. A single press to toggle play and pause. A double press triggers a specified Sonos playlist. Hold and twist will adjust the volume. You can see here it is extremely responsive. And then a swipe left and right for fast forward and rewind. This was just really cool to use. Now there's also a Homey integration. I find the Flic buttons to be very good at controlling Homey flows if you are a Homey user. This is mainly how I use my Flic Twist devices. Here's a list of all the providers that you can connect in the Flic app. Now let's talk about what you need for HomeKit and Matter, because there are a number of ways to use this. If you're an Apple Home user and you want this exposed to HomeKit so you can create automations in the Apple Home app, you do need a Flic Hub LR. Another important note for Apple Home users is that you'll only get the button press actions available in HomeKit to automate. So you will get the single press, the double press, and the long press for each button, but you won't be able to configure any of the gesture controls in Apple Home. From what I can tell, you can use this with both HomeKit and create separate automations in the Flic app simultaneously. You can see here just the responsiveness of the button presses in HomeKit. This basically acts like the original Flic buttons in HomeKit, except you have, of course, 2 buttons instead of just 1. The Duo also boasts Matter support, and I've already shown you what it looks like controlling some other Matter accessories, but it's worth noting that the button is not exposed as a Matter device to your smart home. I think this is an important distinction to be aware of if you're interested in the Matter support. Instead, the Flic Hub basically acts as a Matter controller itself. So what that means, if you want to control your Matter accessories directly with the Duo, you'll need to add those other Matter accessories to your Flic Hub. For example, for me to control that Nanoleaf bulb or the shades that I showed you, I put those devices in pairing mode from the Apple Home app and then added them to the Flic Hub in the Flic app. I can then add, these devices to my Flic Duo button automations. Now there is the ability to connect the Duo directly to your phone to create Flic automations as well, to control basically your phone. However, you won't get all the gesture options and stuff like that available when you do this. So basically, if you're gonna get the Duo, you're probably gonna wanna get the Flic Hub in order to take full advantage of the capabilities and all the features, especially for your smart home. All right, so what are my final thoughts here? I was honestly pretty skeptical about how well this would actually work in the real world. It did work better than I expected. It worked quite well when controlling my Matter accessories, as you saw here in the video. It was not always perfect. Again, it's only gonna be as good as the devices you're controlling. So make sure you are using reliable smart home devices with, good connections and everything like that. I think my favorite thing for the gesture controls is just the swipe up and the swipe down actions for controlling my Matter shades. That was really cool. And then using the buttons to trigger the robot vacuum is also a really cool use case, I think. It is kind of annoying, I guess, that you have to add your Matter accessories to the Flic Hub in order to control them. But at the same time, I understand it. I don't think there would be any way to expose those gestures, those gesture controls via Matter any other way, to your smart home. So it makes sense that they did it this way. But again, I was really impressed at how well it worked when I was using it to control my Matter devices. Again, that Sonos integration was flawless. It was so responsive in controlling the volume as well as everything else. So I think this would definitely be nice for Sonos users. All right, so what is wrong with it? Well, first thing to be aware of is the integration options. I showed you all the available integrations here. There are a lot, and having the ability to add Matter devices definitely opens up a lot of possibilities. I would love to be able to twist to control the brightness or the color of a lot of my Nanoleaf lights here in the studio, but unfortunately I can't do that since they aren't Matter accessories. There is a Nanoleaf integration, but you are limited regarding the integrations that work natively with the dimming capabilities. I'd also love to control my Lutron shades with, the swipe up and the swipe down gestures like I did with those Matter shades, but since the Lutron shades don't support Matter and the Duo gestures aren't exposed to HomeKit, it's not something I'm able to do. So definitely think about the devices you want to control with this and just make sure that Flic has the integrations available for you to accomplish it. I do sort of worry about losing it if you plan to be, removing it from the wall for a lot of those gesture controls. Again, they did mention that there will be an update enabling audio feedback, which will be nice. With that, you should be able to ping the Duo from the Flic app so you can find it, if you lose it in the couch or something. So that'll be a nice update. Not sure when that will be available. Just make sure you don't lose it before that update comes. And then there's just the question of really how practical is this device? Having over 20 trigger commands in a single button is definitely awesome, but will you actually remember what everything does? I know I definitely struggle with stuff like that sometimes when I set up a single device that can do multiple things. Sometimes I can't remember the difference between a single press, double press, or a long press on just a regular smart button that I've set up. Not to mention, swiping and twisting and all this other kind of stuff. I know my wife or other family members won't remember most of the stuff. So that's just something to consider. It's nice to have the options if you want them. I think I'll probably try to keep mine pretty simple so, I can just remember what it does and, actually use it on a daily basis. But overall, for my first hands-on with the new Flic Duo, I am impressed. I keep saying it, but it does work much better than I expected. It's probably because, back when I demoed it at CES, it was a little buggy. It was early days and I was not sure if they'd be able to pull off something like this with all those gesture controls, but like I said, it's been working really well for me so far. At the end of the day, it is really cool to see a company innovating and coming up with something truly unique for our smart homes. This is certainly one of a kind. They've been available to pre-order and they start shipping officially on November 4th. As of the time of this recording, batch 1 and 2 are sold out and batch 3 is available to order with shipping estimated for December. The price for a single button is $59 unless you're able to get a pre-order discount. Not terrible considering all the capabilities this has, but if you have to add a Flic hub to your order, it does get a little pricey. There are definitely more affordable smart buttons on the market, but none that I know of that allow you to swipe and rotate to control your home. So let me know, is this something that you would pay for? And if so, how would you use one of these in your smart home? I hope this video helped. Give me a thumbs up if it did, and subscribe for more smart home content just like this every week. If you want to see more on those Matter smart shades that we talked about here today, click on this video right over here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.